Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Blaze casting presentation bringing you guys a game between Genesis and Zero Map Awareness in the semifinals of the SECS NA Dota tournament. So I am Blaze Casting, your host for today's tournament. I also have NY John streaming the other alternate semifinals game. But going on into this here, I've followed Genesis for most of the path, and they've been performing rather admirably in all of their games here. They've did extremely well in both rounds, and had some convincing wins using the advantage of ganking into farming, and just really capitalizing on it, picking some really good late game carries such as the Luna to just extenuate the advantage of their farm as they go along. But we'll be going on into the semifinal game in just a moment's time. As far as the draft starting off, we do have bans coming out such as the Magnus Bounty Hunter, the Undying, and the Keep the Light. Pretty standard stuff except for the Azalur. I'm kind of surprised that they banned that out. I'm not sure if they were maybe spectating the enemy team's game and knew that that was one hero that they could play very, very well. Or maybe it's just something they didn't want to have to deal with if they want to go for a push strat and go with aggression, because both the Tombstone and the Illuminate are really good counter push mechanisms. But their first pick, they're going to be eating into their reserve time, trying to figure out what they want to take out of this. But obviously the Darkseer is available, the Bat Rider as well, and that's what they're going to go for to start things off. Possibly going on the solo mid, otherwise we'll most likely be looking at him in the jungle. But that does unfortunately leave open to Zero Map Awareness. They get the Darkseer and possibly an AoE hero to synergize with him. Not necessarily like an Enigma or anything, but maybe like a Sven or a Gyrocopter Luna if they go with the Sven. So Darkseer Sven, very, very good combination. Not necessarily going to be doing much together in the lane, but once they get rocket and rolling into the mid game, vacuuming in them all together for Sven to land a Stormbolt on top of them, AoE stun, and then doing a hell of a lot of cleave with that great cleave passive. So once he gets farmed up, he can just completely obliterate the enemy team with a good Darkseer play. So Genesis is going to have to be very careful about their positioning if they want to be able to hang out of this game. In the meantime, they have to decide whether they're going to go for an aggressive tri-lane or a defensive one. Like I said, Bat Rider can control the mid or just go for a 2.5 lane with the jungle. But that would assume a passive lane, a defensive lane. So they're going to go with a Shadow Demon and a Lifestealer. I like these pickups as they get up against the Sven. One big thing about the Stormhammer is it's very predictable, and although you can't just like blink away to disjoin it, what you can do is rage out of it as Lifestealer, turn immune, or you can disrupt yourself or your ally as Shadow Demon. So if they position themselves well in the lane, assuming a 3v3 engage at the beginning of the game, then Shadow Demon, as long as they're all split up, that each one of them can negate the effects of the Stormhammer and not have to worry about that setup stun, which is generally used to set up Leshrac or Lina or many other heroes, Jakiro for example. But surprisingly, Jakiro does not get picked up. It's going to be the Invoker that is the hero of choice, possibly going on the solo mid, otherwise going for the safe lane, but that would make things weird for the Darkseer. It would force him into the jungle, which is much less popular of late. So I doubt it. I think they are going to go with a solo mid Invoker, which the Bat Rider can handle with relative ease. The biggest deal is that Bat Rider has more issues diving against the Invoker because of the Cold Snap, and that's how Bat Rider usually gets his kills, is get like 6 charges of Napalm and then just Firefly right on over. But yeah, that Cold Snap does put a little bit of gives him a little bit of cold feet in that regard. Doesn't want to initiate up against the creeps, up against the tower in that regard. But now the banning phase will come on through, Jakiro taken off. They have their tri-lane almost set up, so they don't really have to worry about that as a lane support to start things off. Definitely don't want it in the hands of Sven as a double stun, but also Leshrac getting banned out. That's interesting. It goes really, really well hand in hand with the Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon does the disruption, Leshrac does the split earth, and they don't want to have to deal with that powerhouse of damage and stun, so they're going to take that out. And possibly Alina as well, because it pretty much serves the exact same purpose. But Rubik is going to be taken off the board. Maybe that might indicate that they're going to be looking for a bigger a hero with big ultimates, something that they don't want to have stolen, like a Tidehunter. However, I would definitely recommend for Genesis to be banning out a Enigma right now, because they do have the Darkseer and the Sven, and if they want to go for a jungle, go for a 2.511. Invoker will be kind of left high and dry, but that Enigma, when we again transition in towards mid game, will add so much more as far as disable. So I think Genesis should be looking at banning out the Enigma. Otherwise, he's most likely going to be picked up for a powerhouse of a team fight coming into Zero Map. But until that point in time, we do have a Faceless Void ban going on out. I think that's the weirdest ban I've ever seen. They already have a Lifestealer. He's already their hard carry that scales with attack speed, so really there's no major reason to get a Faceless Void. Chronosphere is a great ultimate, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't seem to fit into lanes that I can tell. But whatever, it is what it is. Faceless Void has been banned out, and we'll go on into the last ban, Venomancer. Odd as well, but Fen needs that lane support. He needs to get charged up with some really good effective farm, and if that's what Zero Map Awareness was looking for. They're kind of unhappy that they didn't really build around their lanes. When building around their lanes, with that I mean the fact that Darkseer goes in one lane, Sven goes in another, and Invoker goes in a third different one. So right now they have one in each lane, but now they are very, very weak as far as lane support. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more in a video guide I have going on this evening with Rolo joining me on that, but right now there are less and less lane supports available, and their last two picks have to be in that category, so maybe a Disruptor will be coming in. We'll see some action from that, but other than that, their options are dwindling into the single digits now, as far as heroes that will fill that role, and especially ones that will fill that role optimally. But the Lina does get picked up, as I was talking about. That's kind of a replace for the Leshrac. A well-timed disruption into Light Strike Array will bring a hero really, really low with powerful stun, the illusions auto-attacking, then Lightstealer follows up with open wounds as soon as the stun expires. It'll be interesting if it's a 3v3 lane. I'd actually, based on the fact that there are so few of the supports available, I don't think Zero Map Awareness can win a 3v3. Shadow Shaman is a great support, has a lot of powerful disables, but the Shackles will almost guaranteed be interrupted very, very quickly. Shadow Demon disrupts himself if he gets Storm Bolted, or Rage goes out on Lifestealer, and then Lina can stun out with his Light Strike Array on the Shackles to interrupt that almost immediately. Fortunately, that also, the pickup of Lich kind of throws things a little bit weird. Lich has been known to be able to suicide lane, and so I'm curious if that's what they're kind of going for with that lane. We'll have to see if Jingo, I actually forget his name, but no, it's Chingu that picks up Lich, so he's going to be going that. Medic's going to pick up the Shadow Demon. So last time Chingu played solo mid Nyx Assassin. I'm curious if that's going to be his role with Lich, going for a solo mid Lich, and have Batrider offlane. No, yeah, Jing picks up the Batrider, so if they go based on the roles that they've been doing the past two games, that would be Batrider offlane, but we'll have to see if they're going to mix things up or do things. Most likely, what I'm thinking, they're going to do an aggressive tri lane. They're going to have Jing do solo bottom. They are Radiant, right? Yeah. Solo bottom, and then have Shadow Demon, Lina, and Lifestealer on the top lane, leaving the Lich open to solo mid. But that's just based on what they've been doing thus far with those specific players in those specific hero roles. They still have plenty of different options, but it would make a bit of sense. They're going to play Lich as a core hero rather than a hard support, get that ultimate up faster and faster, the shorter the cooldown the better, and with that deliver a lot of hurt. Little known fact is that it will interrupt the channeled effects such as Shackles if he pops the Chain Frost on an enemy like that. Otherwise, it's going to be a little weird. One thing I don't necessarily like the Chain Frost, or sorry, the Lich pickup up against the Darkseer is that if he does get a good Wall of Replica off, the Chain Frost will most likely just bounce around a bunch of illusions and not do that much in a big impact fight. But if they can get some early aggression out, which this team definitely seems that's like their middle name. I mean, Lich is a great early game hero, Lifestealer pretty solid, and then Shadow Demon, Lina, and of course the Batrider, all of them, as soon as they hit level 6, they're ready to rock and roll. So if they can get some pressure out that will thwart the intentions of the Darkseer before he can get that Wall of Replica out, that's going to be a pretty big deal. Let me make sure. I thought I turned off my starboard, but I might still be getting it. Yeah, no, it looks like we're good. Anyways, going on into starting items here, Chingu is actually starting off with a Tango and Triple Branch for solo mid. He's going for Bottle on Lich, possibly, and that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard, but I don't know. It might be new meta, for all I know. Anyways, Lifestealer going to be going for the farming role with that Quelling Blade up on top lane here. That will leave Medic to support him with wards, Capitalist to support him with sentries, and Smoke, actually. So a little bit of attempt to roam around and put some pressure out in other lanes. By surprise, but yeah, true to their roles previously, Jing is actually going to be going on the solo bottom Batrider, and that'll be pretty awesome. But this Observer Ward placement is really nice in this 3v3 circumstance. It's going to be really difficult for Zero Map Awareness to be able to hold this lane, so that ward is a really good way to start. This will give full vision of anybody roaming around in this regard up on the lane, or even a little bit down on the river. But the main, yeah, so that's a huge benefit and really, really important if they're going to be able to get spend some farm, because they need to keep their creep equilibrium right around this area. Otherwise, they're going to get heroes picked off and way too far from the tower to really help them out at all. So Game Thrower has picked up the Omni-Knight, and although he is very defensive, he can heal very effectively and maybe do some retaliating damage to the Lifestealer through that true damage nuke. I don't know if it's the best course of action for a tri-lane 3v3, because one thing that Omni-Knight really needs is experience. A little bit of gold and a lot of experience to get his Guardian Angel up, his Purification, etc. At low levels, Omni-Knight is alright, but could be a lot better, especially with how much mana that spell costs baseline. But nevertheless, we're going on through into the semifinals game, and hopefully they can make it work. So it's Sours on the Sven, Game Thrower on the Omni Knight, Glint on the Shadow Shaman this time around, looking to stack up in a moment's time, but this Observer Ward should be able to negate that. So that's not going to happen. No stack's going to be coming out of that. Along with that, Jenkins is going to be soloing up middle lane versus the Lich. I'm curious to see if that is actually a bottle that's going to be coming up, but for the time being, that's kind of what we're looking at there. Down on the bottom lane, it looks like Jing is doing perfectly fine soloing up against Super Dry. Not really too affected by that Ion Shell, but they are going to contest even this one little pull. They're not going to be pulling any more than this, but Light Strike Array does come out. That's a decent cooldown, so he's got to watch himself, but nevertheless, they have all three here. Looking to initiate, here comes the Disruption, going in, following him with the Open Wounds, Light Strike Array, and Glint should be locked down. Purification does delay the inevitable. Stormbolt does come out. It's actually First Blood, dropping down to Shadow Demon, so they do actually get a 1 kill out of it, 2 kills out of it, and with the Lina dropping down now, they won't. I don't think they'll be able to kill the Lifestealer, and I wish that guy would stop drawing. Kind of have to watch these broadcaster slots, but whatever. So Lifestealer is the one who survives. He was able to get the kill on the Shadow Shaman, but they lost 2, and more importantly, they lost the First Blood. So Sven will only pick up 2 assists. He didn't get either of those kills. It looks like one died to Creeps and the other died to Omni Knight, but one way or another, it's still 2 for 1 in favor of the Dire, and that's a good amount of experience heading their direction. Lifestealer is now up to level 2, almost level 2.5, but the Omni Knight and Sven are both pretty well experience farmed themselves. So he's got and along with that, yeah, Sven is now level 3, so that's a pretty big deal. He's gonna keep doing that. Oh well, no, nothing in my control, but I'll just have to deal with it. Anyways, Sours is now a level 3 and level 3 and a third, so he has rank 2 Stormhammer. There's a lot of damage coming on out. Will AoE very effectively. Like I said, they have multiple ways of avoiding it, such as Rage and Disruption, but it's still having that level advantage is going to help him out in the lane quite a bit. Even though he only has a Quelling Blade, he will need some assistance from his allies to sustain that mana pool, but it's still very effective. Anyways, looking at Shingu's items, he has a bottle courier. No, he's going for boots. So he's going for a boots rush because he knows he doesn't need more than branches, maybe to go for a quick mechanism and insert some early aggression, but one way or another, he will have boots, have mobility, and try to control the runes, presumably. So the 2-minute rune has spawned. It is actually going to be on bottom lane here, invisibility, and we'll see if any one of them capitalizes on that specifically. But right now, he has full ward vision of it. The Dire have vision of the runes, the Radiant do not. This specific rune up on the northern cliff, although it gives great vision to anybody flanking, especially the Invoker or anything like that, or transitioning towards the mid lane to gain Glitch, it'll give great vision of that, but unfortunately will not cover up this rune spawn, and they don't have anything covering the bottom either. So Chingu a little bit blind for the time being, but he's not reliant on runes as much as some might think. However, he is reliant on health regen items. That's why he's coring up that salve along with the boots to keep him sustained in the lane. Meanwhile, as far as last hits go, 7-7 on Batrider, so he's technically winning the lane up against this Batrider handsomely, as Darkseer is now sitting. He is level 3 and he's going to get his soul ring rather shortly, but for the time being he is short on last hits, 2-0, not where you want to be at when you're, you know, really good in 1v1, but Batrider also an extremely good 1v1 here, and I'm looking at Darkseer to pick up a magic stick pretty soon. There's just so much napalm spam that can be coming out of Batrider, only costs 20 mana, and improves his auto attack damage as well as the Firefly so considerably that you really have to get a magic stick, otherwise the harassment will just overwhelm you, and I believe that's probably what's been happening. Also maybe a little bit of lag as he did disconnect out and reconnected in. But one way or another, going back in, the unpause will be coming out, and we'll be going on back into the game. But it looks like it's going to be an Exhort Invoker, so it has a little bit more global presence with that Sunstrike if he's going to be ranking that up a little bit. Maybe going for a Quaz 4 Exhort build going into Forward Spirits, which will give a lot of armor penetration, allowing Sven to do that much more damage to a specific target and cleaving that damage to the rest. So that'll be pretty cool. But right now, Omni Knight has hit level 2. He will get his Repel available, so pretty much anybody that's most likely going to be targeted by the Light Strike Array, if he gets enough of a timing window, he can actually put the Repel down and help them avoid the stun. However, with that disruption, it's going to be very difficult to do. So he's just trying to play defensive as possible, and it's not really working out. But they're trying to pick some people off. They don't have vision based on this ward, but presumably they have the stacks. But honestly, the creeps spawn there. We'll see in about 8 seconds if it's still spawning, but that's a little bit bizarre, as I would presume that that is supposed to be within the creep boundary. But yeah, it's still spawning creeps, so, you know, it's apparently not close enough. to actually negate that. Now Glint actually kind of out of position here, but the repel comes out to keep him alive. Soul Catcher goes on to Sven, but instead he gets a nice stun combination onto the Shadow Demon. He does disrupt himself for a short time period, but he will drop down, and he's going to take a fall there, unfortunately for him. So that's going to be another kill in favor of them. Omni-Knight decides to pick that one up for himself, so he's going to have rather quick Arcane Boots if that's the item of choice for him. In the meantime, Jenkins is going to be looking for a Drum of Endurance in relatively quick order, as he's CSing 9 and 3 versus the Lich, who has 7 and 3. But Lich, really, he doesn't need the money. I mean, Mech will be great if he can pick that up relatively quickly, but he's more so looking towards things like a higher experience levels, getting that rank 2 ultimate, reducing that cooldown, increasing that damage. But now, Lifestealer didn't pop his Rage fast enough, gets caught out by the Stormbolt and the Aether Shock. Now, one more auto attack should be enough. No, 7 HP, despite the Soul Catcher is only rank 1, I believe. So yeah, 20% increased damage received, not enough, and he lives with just the sliver of life remaining. And so that was a nice kill, picking off the Nakes. He did not rage out of the Stormbolt, and Lena's Light Strike Ray was just a moment too late, which means they get yet another free kill out of that mess. So really good tri-lane happening from Zero Map Awareness. I'm kind of impressed on how they're coordinating and communicating. It looked like Glint was overextending, but merely a bait with that repel to make sure that they could capitalize on the opposition being caught out. So we're going to outperform them pretty well, and as soon as Sven TP's back up to lane with this amount of money, he will be able to be back in the fray and delivering a world of hurt back in that direction. Rank 1 Rage is all they have right now. He's gone 1-1-1, which is perfectly fine, but I'm curious to see if he's going to put another point in Rage right about now. But he has Magic Wand. It does have 7 charges, so he's going to be much more survivable. But he has already dropped down once, and that's going to cost him quite a bit of experience time. He has TP'd twice over now, and he's not farming nearly as much as his Sven. I mean, you look at the net worth there, and although he has a lot of creep kills, he doesn't have the hero kills, so I'm kind of surprised about the GPM. But not a big deal. So Zhao Yun farming up. He was the Luna last game for anybody that was tuning in previously, and he did an amazing job CSing. So you can see that 26 last hits, even at a lane disadvantage where you've lost so many kills. All these kills that Zero May is getting have been assists to Sven, not kills. So beautiful Light Strike Array coming on out and trying to keep the Lifesteal alive. He does survive long enough for that nice disruption. Now turning around on Glint, that Sunstrike went on through and did a decent amount of damage, and now Zhao Yun will be able to bring down the Shadow Shaman. Now beautiful Purification will be enough to bring down the Storm Spirit, or sorry, wow, Shadow Demon. Worst mistake ever. But anyways, Omni-Knight has 2 seconds left on his Purification. Going to cast it as soon as possible. Does get a nice nuke down onto the Lifestealer. Will not be able to turn it around though, as Sven is out of mana for this point in time. Don't know what that acronym is, but not a big deal. Anywho, Sentry Wards are available if they needed to deward the spawns, but thus far they haven't really had to. Still don't know it. Whatever. Invoker was actually trying to do some nuke damage onto, I believe, the Lifestealer, but didn't work out for them in the end. So they lost the Shadow Shaman, which is not what they wanted to get out of that. But they did get the Shadow Demon from the Omni-Knight. So Omni-Knight's actually, like I was talking about him getting experience deprived, but the fact of the matter, he's been the one that's been alive for the most kills. He is sitting right now 3-0-2. And has been alive for every single kill. So he's actually getting an amazing amount of experience per minute. He's like 5th on the list. 4th, yeah, okay, so that with that, he has 240 experience per minute. He's sitting at level 5. His Guardian Angel will be coming in quick order. And the only one really suffering from it is Shadow Shaman, who has dropped down multiple times over, now only level 4. Not exactly where he wants to be at, but it's still going to be effective enough. Rank 1 Shackles is fine, as long as you don't get stunned out. Did miss one thing on the bottom lane, actually mid lane real quick. Invoker does get caught out. Lich just doing enough damage with that ultimate. Chain Frost, he was not expecting him to commit that ultimate. Bounce to the creeps, I presume, and he was able to bring him down, but yeah, he was just too far forward in the middle lane and was dropped down. Along with that, about, let's say, a minute ago, Darkseer was soloed by that Bat Rider. Him popping off enough napalm stacked with that Firefly Surge helps, but only helps so much if you get called back by the Flame Break, etc. So he ultimate Flaming Lasso is long enough cooldown for me to know that, but yeah, Darkseer just playing a little bit too over-aggressive, does not have that magic stick I was talking about, and so he can get just completely destroyed by napalm stacks if he's not careful. So, as far as the KD, never mind, up top, we have Glint, going to be locked down pretty quickly. Light Strike Array, one last hit, Lifestealer will pick that up for himself, and now they're all going to fall back there. TP coming in from the Omni Knight, trying to get some damage in. It looks like Sven's going to be looking for a Stormbolt in a moment's time. 3 seconds left on that cooldown, and from there, Purification will come on out. Repelling out, no Dragon Slave for you. He gets a nice stun of Shadow Demon. We'll be able to lock him down, but no, auto attacks come on through. The Purification could not be cast because of the rank 2 repel, and now Omni Knight will be locked down as well. Nice action from that Shadow Demon. Beautiful disruption timing, and was able to bring him down super dry. Teleporting in, but too little too late. Glint not being able to do too much as he was picked off in the first place. So Omni Knight was effective in the lane at the beginning, but right now the turnarounds aren't there. They're playing very defensively, but you cannot repel and purify the same target, and so unfortunately, at least not in that order. So Sven did drop down, and the Omni Knight 1v3, not really going to work out for him. But now Batrider kind of has free control of this lane. He's going to get Blink Dagger in a very, very short time period. If you're looking at his last hits, he's actually beating the Lifestealer. Naix has only 42 CS, but the Batrider is now up to 48. He's going to get his Blink Dagger in no time at all. And with that, one thing to keep in mind is even with a BKB, even with a Repel, the Batrider is still going to be able to Blink Lasso in whoever he wants. So that is going to be really important. That Blink Dagger is going to be very clutch for some good initiations coming out of Genesis, and I expect some big plays coming out of Jing in that regard. But in the meantime, looks like Game Thrower is just kind of rotating around. He has his Arcane Boots, so he has a lot of mana to work with. But until he gets that Guardian Angel, there's no way he can make somebody immune. Now, nice Sunstrike on the Stormbolt will bring Shadow Demon extremely low. He disrupts himself to delay the inevitable. He should drop down with that God Strength and the Purification going down from Omni Knight, but now Sour's on pretty low life. Glint wants to go aggressive, does the Shackles on Alina, but now beautiful Light Strike Array and the Lich Frost Blast will bring down both the Omni Knight and the Shadow Shaman. Now they're looking for the Omni Knight himself, or sorry, brought down the Shadow Shaman and the Sven. Omni will be able to escape with his life, but has acquired level 6, so that's something to keep in mind. Invoker has a free lane, but he's out of mana, and he's not exactly the pushing type, so he has brought down this tower almost to half HP, but he's not going to be able to capitalize on Lich's absence nearly as much as he would prefer. A little bit of an exchange. They both have Vision. He posts off the Urn and has the Frost Blast, so he has slowed him down, and a couple more auto attacks with that Frost Blast should do the trick, and he actually gets us another solo kill onto the Invoker, which is awesome for him. I mean, experience per minute, he's looking at 500, and he's going to be hitting his level 11 in no time at all, so that's really, really nice. Finding that Invoker and the Cold Snap, really not that great when you're just the only one auto-attacking. You need a little bit more assistance in order to capitalize on that. Stormbolt does go out on the northern end. Lina completely caught out of position, and she will drop down. Shadow Shaman finally getting some gold under his belt. We'll be able to buy booties up with that now that he has somebody who picked up the Flying Courier. Obviously don't know that, but Zhao Yun has finished his Midas in relatively good timing, and although he was able to rage out that Stormbolt, he actually might have cost Medic his life if they had gone aggressive, but instead, here comes the Blink Batrider, pulling in the Omni Knight, pulling him on through the Firefly, but Glint is the one with the Soul Catcher on him, so no damage is really going to be coming out. They want to try to bring down Sours, however, he got Purification dubbed. Jing, now with the Guardian Angel out, the Shackles on the Sunstrike, is going to be the Batrider that takes the fall. Sours on really low life, but barely survives on out of that and surge to safety. Now, Medic running for his life, and it looks like Game Thrower is going to take a fall. He does get the Purification off, but Laguna Blade just too much damage to deal with, and unfortunately they're all going to drop down. There is no Chain Frost available. Zhao Yun on low life will pop his magic wand, try to rage on out of there, but the Iron Shell should do the trick no matter what, so nothing that can be done. However, the Shadow Shaman did just get dropped down there, and along with that they drop a Sentry Ward. They have a Sentry Ward for the Invoker. How much prediction is that for these kind of exchanges? But Medic does take a fall just from the Cold Snap, or actually just auto attack damage from the Invoker is sufficient, and Omni Knight will heal him back to full. So despite being on really low life, the Ghost Walk was enough. He was able to drop down and force a Sentry. Now looking to dive onto Lina, trying to burn him down, but he is out of mana and kind of afraid. He does not actually get the Purification off onto the Lich, so they repel. He's just going to be able to fall back, and this is kind of, now they're just going to draw the line and try to regeneration up. I don't think either one can push against the other, but man, that was just a frantic scramble for kills all over the place, and Lich is currently coming out on top, 4-0-1, not too, and then Omni Knight and Lifestealer are both tied at 4-2-4, so good action there, but a Blink Initiation coming in to try to pick off the Darkseer. He doesn't have Lasso for 3 seconds, though. I don't know if he just mistimed that or expected his team to follow up a little bit more, but here comes a Disruption Soul Catcher. Now the Purification will come out, but the Demonic Purge as well. Omni Knight pulled in, lassoed into the fire, so he will drop down to half HP. The Sunstrike does hit a little bit on Lifestealer. Now Sours has popped off. God's Strength does not have mana for Stormbolt, already using it. Batrider on low life in the no man's land, and does get dropped down by last auto attack, but a beautiful Chain Frost comes on through. Will hit Super Dry once over as he has surged away from it, and that projectile time is just too long. And as Ether Shock combined with that Storm Bolt and Auto Attack, bringing everybody really low, Chingu probably will drop down here, but a nice disruption to start things off. Looking for a TV Scroll, does not have it, just looking for a Frost Blast, maybe on the Omni Knight. No, he is going to get caught up by Glint and drop down. Along with that, the Shadow Demon cornered in the trees, so they're all going to take a fall, and he's not going to be able to 1v1 from that low HP. Zhao Yun just has to fall back to base as he is such low life, but currently holding his ground. I think he should just take the time he can to walk away. Jenkins, in the meantime, free farming on mid lane, looking for a Yule's Scepter. With that maxing Exhort there, he is going to be doing a heck of a lot of burst with the Sunstrike Meteor Deafening Blast combo, but the big deal there is taking the tower solo. Getting the last hit on that, he's going to give a lot of gold to his team, and you can just see how crazy this game has been. But in general, it's been in favor of Genesis until most recently when they got a lot of really good kills, cleaning up that fight, most recent fight, and getting that tower. Looks like they're going to be looking for a tier 1 tower up top, which might actually push the gold advantage in their favor. Nice Sunstrike coming out with the slows they had. Disruption will keep them alive for the time being. Spent on low life, should get dropped down here. Laguna Blade actually to Glint. Beautiful coordination with that Dragon Slave, knowing that he could take him down. Purification will bring down Lina to really low life, but with the Napalm, it should be enough to bring him down before Capitalist will be in danger. The tower, however, did not die to the Dire. Zero Map Awareness dropped those wards and assumed they could finish the job, but Shadow Demon, Medic, able to last hit underneath it 2 or 3 Serpent Wards, was able to take it back. So that's really, really favorable for them. Sunstrike, not going to land. Close, but no cigar. Capitalist will remain, survive, and get back to base. But nice deny, very, very important that they were managed to do that, and of course they did get a lot of an advantage from those kills there. So very fast-paced game. I'm almost very happy that I don't have a co-caster this time around, because honestly he wouldn't get a word in edgewise. Like, there's just way too much going on. It's been non-stop action, and that's the kind of Dota I love anyway. So very, very cool, and hopefully we'll keep up the pace. But yeah, where we're going. Oh, I guess he can hear me, but I have mute co-broadcasters on, so he is not able to be heard on stream or anything like that. But yeah, well, that doesn't make you my co-caster. You gotta actually coordinate with me. Anyways, Lina coming in is trying to bring down Super Drive, but the Light Strike Array, although it will land, is not enough to go through the Purification and the Repel. And with that, they're not able to bring him down, so that's that. Why not? I'm going to go out on a limb and unmute co-broadcasters. I can mute him if he's annoying, but I'll give him one quick opportunity to jump in the game and provide a little bit of analysis for us, as I am out Rainmaker. He is missing in action for the time being.
I probably won't get much words in, but you know.
Sure enough, sure enough. Well, Shadow Demon does get shackled up. The Sunstrike goes on through, and it's just way too much damage for Shadow Demon to hold on to. Now, Lina getting slowed up by the Degen Aura.
She's a very easy kill. She's just gonna fucking go around the trees.
Sure enough, yeah, just gets locked down, no problem at all. So, yeah, she does take a fall.
Yeah, it's a very good pickup for them, honestly.
They can be looked to push down the tier 1 tower here, and that's going to be a really big deal for them.
I don't know, where is this guy?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
Alrighty. But yeah, Lich can't really hold on to that. It's going to take a fall. Glint most likely going to be looking for the last hit. No, actually, Lich could deny it. He didn't, though. He went for Glint. He wanted to get the kill instead of the deny. Kind of a bad call, but in the end, he does get the open wounds. Should be able to bring him down. No problem. Frost Blast. Lich will secure that kill, no problem. Now they're going to teleport back up top. Make sure Sven cannot put split push on the lane. And now my mic is not... Okay, I don't know why it's not showing up in... game. Hello, testing. Alright, my mic's back on. A little odd, but whatever. Anywho, so we're gonna have a quick pause coming out. It looks like another disconnect coming out of Darkseer for just a short time period, but he is very close to his Pipe of Insight, only 350 gold away from that, and when he acquires it, it's going to be a really big deal. The Lich and the Lina will be very, very less effective in team fights, even with the Laguna Blade and their full kit, the Frost Blast, all that kind of thing. The Pipe makes a bounce off like nothing until Lich can get that rank 3 ultimate, so really good pickup. And with that, Omni Knight will soon have his mechanism as well, and he's already providing a lot of survivability for his fellow heroes, so along with that mechanism, he's going to be able to do a lot for his team in general. I'm not sure if you're still in here. Guess not. No big deal then. just gonna keep on soul casting because that's what I've been doing. So Meteor and Sunstrike hasn't been invoked on obviously on Invoker. He has the Eul Scepter Divinity, so what he's gonna look to do is follow that up with a Deafening Blast. So he's gonna be able to one-shot the Batrider if he can't blink out this. He's gonna spam his blink. He won't get it out though. There's the Deafening Blast, Meteor, Sunstrike combo, and he's gonna take a fall there. Maybe not in the right order perfectly, but it did enough. It did plenty of damage and was able to bring him down. So good action there, and one way or another, it worked out for them. So, that is going to be a kill on the Batrider, who previously was very high in experience per minute, 420 plus, and with that, they got a lot of experience of their own. Invoker jumping up to 390. He definitely needs those levels. Every single element he puts into his spells makes them more and more powerful, and that's a really big deal. But Disruption cornering him in, the illusions blocking him out, so he cannot get out until he auto-attacks these guys down, or they expire themselves. Guardian Angel popped off, and no repel on Omni-Knight means he's only a Chain Frost and Laguna Blade away from dropping down, just getting incinerated there. Maybe a bit of overkill, but they got their kill, and that's what's important. 18 to 18 now, and they're just keeping the momentum flowing both regards. But the one big deal is that Radiant haven't had the opportunity to push in onto the opposition. The tier 1 towers have dropped down on every single lane of Genesis, and they have not had any opportunity to push down on bottom, middle, anywhere. I mean, the towers have been very well secured, and Zero Map Awareness at least has the awareness and clairvoyance to make sure that they realize how important towers are, and that's what's giving them this temporary gold lead. At least I believe it is. Obviously, they got a kill on the Omni-Knight there, but Lifestealer also got picked off. I'm not sure exactly what that was about. Probably something similar to the situation that Batrider recently succumbed to. Nevertheless, Jenkins, looking to continue his aggression, has the exact same spells as before invoked, and with that should be able to, insta-gib anybody that he wants to. He can do a heck of a lot of damage. Follow that up with a Deafening Blast, and then as soon as you can get a Cold Snap invoked, if he gets to level 12, he will have a relatively short cooldown on Invocation. It's going to be 12-second cooldown, so he can follow that up as necessary. But Sours for the time being, just farming up on top, looking for the Armlet. Armlet is a pretty solid item on him. A lot of people like to go for the BKB and the Mask of Madness. It's kind of a way of making yourself immune to magic, and with Warcry popped, you don't take that much physical damage, so why not get an insane amount of attack speed for that damage for gold? That's probably your better option, but over the course of a fight, the Armlet actually delivers World of Hurt as well. His God Strength scales based on base damage. So with that, he gets that percentage-based increase of how much strength he has. The Armlet has the most strength per gold spent than any other item in the game, so he's going to get a lot of benefit out of that. But now they're going to be looking for Roche. They pop off the rank 2 Serpent Ward, so it should be relatively easy pickings unless Genesis has something else in mind to answer the Shadow Poison, revealing what's going on. The jig is up, and they actually technically didn't get the dot on any of them, but now here comes Jing, picking off with Lynch for the starters. Now the wall goes on through, making sure that they can at least secure the Roshan kill, but Shadow Shaman will take a fall there. Meteor completely whiffs, does not hit on anybody there, and now they can be looking to start off with a Frost Blast. 6 seconds left on ice the Chain of Frost, and that's going to be really, really important here. If they can catch it off on Sour specifically, that's going to be able to burn somebody down, no problem. The God Strength does pop off, but no BKB. He has to turn on his Armlet to survive. Chingu wants to pop off that Frost Blast. Just get the Chain Frost going, there it goes. Gets the Aegis Immortal popped on the Sven, now bouncing around between Super Dry and Jenkins. Jenkins will be on relatively low life, but now Sour is back in the action. Arises from the dead of the Aegis Immortal. Gets disrupted up, though. No coordination. Lina has wasted her Light Strike Array. Jing has to blink out, blink out. Oh my gosh, he needs to blink. He's just trying to bait him out for the time being, slowing him up, making his turn rate extremely slow, and during that entire process they were actually able to get the kill on the Darkseer. Now it looks like they almost got the Lich locked down, but no, it was all bait, trying to make sure that Sven was in this giant rectangle of fire. Light Strike, oh beautiful Sunstrike, catching off the Lich though. This ward made it happen, so he had the vision, saw it, and was able to lock down the Lich in his basic pathing trajectory there, but nevertheless that was really good bait, making sure that they could bring down the Sven as well. He had the blink the whole time. He could have always gotten away, but he wanted to make sure that he could bring down the Sven as well, and that's what he did. Getting all those napalms up, there's really nowhere for you to go. But they did lose the Lich in the process, so in the end the score is going to be 21 to 19. One thing to also keep in mind is that Roshan provides a heck of a lot of golden experience that was obtained by the Dire there. So looking back at the gold graph, still back and forth all over the place, but at least a little bit of an experience advantage for the Radiant. Now as far as who has the most endgame, that's rather hard to say. As far as single target, I would definitely say the advantage goes to Genesis. They have the Lifestealer who just tears through anyone, especially strength carries, really, really rapidly. Can just burn through with a lot of attack speed once he gets some really good items up. Looking for a Desolator, presumably, and he does have it finished. Along with that, the Laguna Blade can finish somebody off really, really quickly, and the Batrider can single somebody out with the Flaming Lasso. So in single target circumstances, they can pick, like, they can insta-give one person, the Lifestealer does a lot of single target damage, the Batrider can disable one person for a good portion of the fight. However, in AoE circumstances, you can't count out Darkseer Sven. You get them grouped up on a wall with a Stormbolt on them, and you can just do anything you want with them. The cleave is just so powerful, and it can be exactly what they need to finish the job here. But obviously Jenkins has been farming up quite a bit, and I really think it comes down to how the fights are initiated and how they are engaged. A couple of illusion runes messing around, getting a little bit of scouting action, but mostly just becoming a nuisance. Sentry wards going down to make sure there's no vision there. But Radiant playing a bit defensively with their wards, putting up in the position of the Ancient stacks. They want to make sure that their Ancients are available, but they have to keep in mind these Ancients have been stacked up multiple times over now. I'm trying to see if that's 2 or 3, probably just 2, but one way or another, that Sven is going to be able to farm them up with relative ease with that Great Cleave and Warcry, and then be able to get some big items as a result. Pipe of Insight has finished up on Darkseer. That's going to be a really big deal for... Sorry, I got distracted. Pipe of Insight is going to add a lot to their team fight, and during those 8 seconds, they're not necessarily immune to magic, but they're going to take a lot less damage from it, especially with anybody trying to focus Darkseer. If he has Pipe, that Laguna Blade isn't even going to be able to pierce through the absorption shell of the buff that it provides. Another Voidstone being picked up by the Invoker. He does have a lot of intellect to play around with, so with that he's going to have nearly unlimited mana, because there's the 150% mana regeneration of Yules and the 100% of Voidstone, along with the high base intellect and therefore base mana regeneration. Another great benefit of that is that he's going to be able to build that into a Scythe of Ice, getting a lot of nice single target disables, and as soon as that Lifestealer comes out of rage, he's going to have a hard time fighting anything when he is, of course, disabled for 3.5 seconds with that Sheepstick. So that's going to be very effective there. But right now, you also have to recognize that as far as just looking at the net worth value, the supports from Genesis are rather broke. I mean, Medic only has 2,000 gold to his name, Lina only 4,100, so not exactly where they want to be at. Now the initiation is almost there. Warcry actually wasted. He popped the Warcry as if they were going to fight on this, but the Genesis being very cautious, being very deliberate with their engagements, and they want to wait until there's somebody out of position, because Batrider can blink in at any point in time, lasso, Firefly, Force Staff away, and pull somebody into a terrible position. That's what they're looking for there. But the wards have dropped. Glint wants to go on this, and all they have to do is just walk away. If they can walk away from this, they have just gone through so many cooldowns with no cost to them. So yeah, Glint, even with his Arcane Boots, is now still on 1/3 mana. His wards are no longer, I mean, after 25 seconds, these things will be gone, and they have ample opportunity to push in if they can get that pick off they're looking for. Double damage on Batrider, not the biggest deal in the world, but nevertheless it's going to be a really good engagement. Lich, in the meantime, just stacking up this ice armor, plus 7 armor, really big deal. Cannot underestimate how much physical mitigation that gives, as well as 20% attack slow on the Sven, who still does not have a BKB. And that's going to cost him a lot of damage time. But here comes the initiation, finding Jenkins, pulling him in with the last, with Force Staffing away. He's caught out completely. Sour wants to go in, but here is the Chain Frost. The pipe has been popped, but a little bit too late. Glint's taking a lot of damage, Sour on half a life, and with that they have the potential to either push or just engage on this. Yeah, Glint wants to try to disable, but Rage coming off cooldown, the Desolator available. If he open wounds anybody, they're dead. Super dry on almost no life at all. The Purification does keep him alive for the time being, but now Sour's in a really poor spot. Guardian Angel keeps him alive. Will there be the magic damage? There is from the Shadow Demon's ultimate, and with that they're going to pursue onto the Omni Knight. He has Repel for a decent amount of time longer, but they should be able to bring him down. The buyback came out, however, from Sours. Jump back into the fray, only to die immediately again. Purification not enough when they have the Laguna Blade back up and in the action. And like I said, Lifestealer with that Desolator, feasting on that open wounded Sven, just completely tore through him because he didn't, I guess he had Warcry, but it didn't do enough. And so he was dropped down there, and that's huge fight for Genesis. Amazing. Look at that skyrocketing advantage coming on through, even better than what they had around the 10-minute mark. So they have definitely taken a huge win here, even without the Roche control. They've just been dominating this fight, and that was a beautiful engagement. Picking off the Invoker so that he couldn't get his really powerful Meteor Sunstrike, or sorry, Meteor Deafening Blast combination and, you know, Yule somebody out of the fight as well. And with that, they were able to take 2 towers and a number of kills in advantage. So,
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
yeah, like this KDA graph is a little bit deceiving. Glint, although he has chaosed 8 kills for himself, he still has 10 deaths, and you know that's a lot of deaths for a 26-19 game. So he's been picked off a number of times, and so when you look at the net worth, he's not farmed up at all. He's actually, how do you have 8 kills, 8 assists, and 3,200 net worth? That is just, that's rough. But nevertheless, that's what the Shadow Shaman has been allotted to as the number 5 player. So he's taken a number of kills and been in the fray a lot, but he has been locked down just so many times. He's having a really tough time with things. However, he's doing good action as far as stacking up for Sven, and hopefully he can continue to take those to get some big items out. But in the meantime, it looks like he's really, really broke. After that buyback, that's what it was. I was surprised at his gold loss, but he lost like 750 gold from that buyback, as well as 13 times 30, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, he lost a lot of gold from that. I would say like 390 gold from both deaths, from each death, and then the 750 from the buyback. I mean, that's a mountain of gold to just throw away. That's half of BKB, and with that, he's going to have a tough time transitioning in. He has to make up for that with Lost Farm, with a lot of ancient stacks and a lot of jungle control, and I don't think that Genesis is going to give them the time of day to do that. They have a Hyperstone on the Nakes. He will have an Assault Cuirass very, very shortly, and once he picks that up, they're going to push for the win. They're going to push for the Roche, and they're going to push to take down the tier 3s, and so it's really a ticking time bomb of when they can actually initiate with that. But for the time being, Sven at least will be able to buy up an Ogre Club. He probably should, since his BKB is not going to be, or sorry, buyback's not going to be up for 2.5 minutes anyways. Glint stacking up a little bit more often. I'm actually not sure why they didn't stack up last minute, but he will do so now and pull that back. I think what he did was mistime the pull and then think it was warded, so he dropped a sentry here, but one way or another, he will keep that stack rolling and get some farm for the Sven in the end. But you can't count out the Invoker. He has a lot of really good spells in his arsenal. He's going to get two double Forge Spirits as soon as he puts another point in Quas, and with that we'll be able to do a lot of physical damage to help out Sven, like I was talking about before. Along with that, he of course does a lot of magic damage with the Meteor Deafening Blast combo, and once he gets a little bit more in Wex, that will push them that much further and do that much more damage to them. Now they're looking to defend up on the tier 1 tower. There are 3 Radiant Heroes pushing that in, and Jing looking, I don't even know what's going on with his items, but nothing really important there. The big deal is Lich almost hitting level 16. That 60-second cooldown of Chain Frost is so substantially short that you can just burst down anybody you want and have it up for the next fight, because, I mean, 1 minute. Next, the Frost has been put up on Lifestealer. That's a lot of bonus armor. Here comes Super Dry trying to initiate, but Jenkins has, onto Jenkins has it first. Jing jumping in on that, pulling in Jenkins, but now the Guardian Angel and the beautiful hammer. I don't know about that Yules, but in the end, they're going to be able to drop a lot down here. Chingu pops off the ice. It's going all across the board. Zhao Yun on full life, just delivering so much damage on the back end of this. The Bat Rider has taken a fall, and the Lich is on low life, but the Lifestealer just chewing through his opposition non-stop. That's the Assault Cuirass at work, and he's able to bring down 3 heroes in the end. I thought that was a really good engagement for the Team Zero map awareness. The vacuum was beautiful, the Stormhammer amazing, but unfortunately there's just too much damage coming back out, and they did survive the initial engagement. That do they have a mechanism? I figured they would. Yeah, mechanism on the Lich was enough, and along with that, the Assault Cuirass giving +5 armor, not too shabby. So that's really the benefit of the ice armor right there, getting +9 armor to each person that he has it on. The mechanism gives +3, I think, +2 armor after you've used it. Along with that, the Lifestealer has that Assault Cuirass for a 5 armor aura. All those stacking on together to do a world of damage, prevent a world of damage, and that's why they didn't get instigate right there. You see all those dot gifs of Sven's just like one-shotting an entire team in a small cluster. That would have happened if not for the Lich's ice armor in conjunction with that Assault Cuirass beneficial aura. So that is really big, and that is why Zero Map Awareness's engagement didn't work out there. They've on the item front, they don't have that advantage there, and good action from Chingu, able to negate a lot of damage, keeping those ice armors rolling. And now they're going to be looking at Roche because they just took that big fight. As far as buybacks that are available, if they want to pop them, it looks like Lifestealer, Lich, and the Sven all have that available, as well as the Darkseer, but of course it is still going to be a very costly investment if you want to try to get that second life in the fray. However, this tier 1 tower is still on bottom, so if they do have to buy back, they can teleport here and just jump right on through, especially if you have 4 staff on Jenkins, but he does not yet. Anywho, it looks like they're looking for an invisibility pickoff. There is no detection yet, but here comes Jing with that vision, pulling in Glint. He's going to be taken off before the wards can go on down. Actually, just came off cooldown, but he does take a fall. Cold Snap goes down, as well as a heck of a lot of damage coming out of Sven. Chain Frost bouncing everywhere. There is a beautiful wall, but it's not enough right now. On the back end, Zhao Yun delivering a world of hurt. Going to bring down Sours most likely. He does pop off Warcry, so it'll be pretty quick to get on out of there, but the TP scroll pops off. Jing running for his life. Zhao Yun finished off the job onto the Sven after I thought the disruption would be popped, but it's not on cooldown. Nevertheless, the beautiful Force Staff coming out of Batrider, and he's actually continuing to use the Napalm. He's baiting it out, and although the Surge will do a lot to keep the lifesteal alive, it may not be enough if they can position it right. Yeah, Open Wound, Surge on out, Repel too, but now they're going to be looking to go on the Omni Knight. If they can get the Disruption into Soulcatcher, yeah, that's what they're looking for, that's what they're going to get. And that's going to be a 1 dead Omni Knight. Guardian Angel, not going to be enough with that Firefly, finishing the job after you take so much damage from that Sven. And now, they're actually, oh, beautiful Flame Break. Perfectly, he surges out, and he would have survived the open wounds, but that Flame Break pulled him right back into the fray. One last hit from Lifestealer, that's all she wrote, and that is a nice kill for them. 10-3 and 11, coming out of Genesis to just go as aggressive as they need to be. Now Sunstrike popped off, doing the combo that I was talking about with Eul Scepter, and it should be Zhao Yun that takes the fall here. He does not have Aegis Immortal, will most likely pop buyback, indeed does. It does cost him a lot. That was not the money that they wanted to spend, 11.25, but they need to keep their momentum rolling and get this Roshan before the Darkseer comes back up. The wall will be up in 18 seconds, of DS himself in 25. They need to take the Rosh before that, and that's what they're going to look to do. It looks like Lich will be going for a Scythe himself. Eul's has been picked up on Batrider, so that's pretty good too. Actually, I think that Eul's might have been a defensive one from the Batrider, up on top lane and engage it. Kind of confused me why Invoker would have done it. Anyway, Shadow Demon getting caught out, the Cold Snap, the Shackles, he does get a Force Staff out, and Disruptions himself with the mech going on through. Now the Chain Frost doing so much damage. Glint on really low life, but the wards have been popped. Jenkins QQ walking away, but now it's going to be Zhao Yun just delivering so much hurt. He still can do it. He going head toe-to-toe with the God's strength, and you might have the strength of God, but this Lifestealer just chews on through that HP value and goes on to just destroy the opposition there. So 3 for 0. They beautiful action keeping Medic alive. Of all the places to be, you were shackled, cold snapped on this cliff here, and you survive, and not only that, they get a 3 for 0 trade. That is where you need to be at for Genesis, and well played to them. I'm glad I've been able to cast so many matches with them, and proud to show their VODs off in the near future on my YouTube channel. But in the meantime, Lifestealer has picked up that Aegis the Immortal. He doesn't have buyback, but you know, it's 2 lives. Should be plenty for them to push in on the tier 3 in a short time period. 3.5 minutes on that buyback there. As far as farm from last hits go, 203 compared to 133, so Zhao Yun, just true to how he's been playing all day long, he is just really, really good at farming, staying on top of any free lane that he can, and along with that, he's still very prominent in the action. He's actually topping out kills and assists right now. Only one with the assists higher are a couple of his supports, but nevertheless, he's been in so many fights, so many kills, and that's exactly where you want to be at. And now, Lich only 400 gold away from the Voidstone, which will finish off his Scythe, and similar numbers. Obviously, Batrider still needs a full Ultimate Orb, but they're looking for multi-Scythe, multi-Piglets, trying to disable as much as possible. And with that lasso on top of a couple of Scythes, it's going to be so easy to kite away this Sven, to disable this Sven, and to finish him off, because he doesn't have that BKB. Every single time he wants to farm, he has to fight, and every single time he fights, he dies. So his GPM has been plummeting to 333, and if you look at his net worth, it's not even on the map. 7,000 net worth on a Sven at 34 minutes of the game. That is atrocious. It's not exactly his fault. The Genesis has just put up so much momentum and has been dropping him down so hardcore, so well played so far to them, and I definitely think they have what it takes to finish this game off and proceed into the final round. But we do have, just looking at the experience graph, 25,000 experience lead and about a 17,000 gold lead for Team Genesis here, and they're definitely taking all the advantage they need out of that in every single lane. Now, they actually are still technically, no, they are up by 1 tower now, but they're going to look to bring down this tier 1 very, very rapidly. Looks like the Ancients have been stacked up so much, but Jenkins just wants to bring it down for himself. I don't know if that's the best choice, but they definitely need to try to get that Scythe. Unfortunately, he's still 1,700 gold away from it, and the tier 1 tower has fallen, adding to Genesis' advantage and pretty much giving them any item they want. Even after that buyback, Lifestealer has so many items at his disposal, looking for a heart. Jenkins does pop off that invisibility. They don't have a Sentry Ward this time around. I was really impressed by that first Sentry Ward, having it like only a few minutes into the game and using it exactly when you need to, but since then they really haven't, and that's kind of been a little bit of an Achilles heel. But really something they can easily overcome, as Invoker is not the prime target in either case. But, you know, taking advantage of the fact that it doesn't have a Force Staff is always nice too. Anywho, what I was saying is that despite the buyback coming out of Zhao Yun, which I really hope I'm pronouncing his name right, but anyways, he has a full heart available despite the buyback, and he has that Aegis Immortal to back it up, of course, as well. So that is amazing. That is just going to be... It just shows how much farm he's been getting. Net worth of 14k, and he's just going to be to stay in the fight for practically forever, with that heart giving him so much HP value. He has tons of armor value from AC. As long as he can stick on a target, he can lifesteal enough so that it's almost impossible to bring him down when he has plenty of support. So they're going to be looking to chain disable him, but meanwhile they're having to worry about disables of their own. Shadow Shaman on very low gold does not obviously have a BKB, same with Invoker, and same with the Sven. So although Omni Knight and Darkseer aren't really susceptible to that, especially with the repel involved, it's still something they have to face the facts that there is a Slice of Life on the Lich, soon will be on the Batrider as well as his Lasso. There's the Yule Scepter on 2 heroes, and Shadow Demon has Disruption. I mean, they have everything they need to just pick people off, to disable them to no end, and win a fight by fighting only half the team at a time. And that's worked out extremely well for them, and I've loved the strategy that they've done here. They've adapted really well with it. Purification of Harassment, but that is going to be a quick pick off and a huge mistake. Game Thrower going to get knocked down immediately, even popping Laguna Blade off just so he couldn't even cast a single spell. Just gets obliterated. So now they have the opportunity to push in this 2-2 tower, and look at the tier 3. Again, this is a 6v4 based on the Aegis of the Immortal. It won't be lasting that much longer, only a couple minutes, but nevertheless, it should be plenty of time for Lifestealer to go in and just do anything he wants. He actually just popped in Rage to get attack speed to try to burn down this tower really quickly. Now Sours with that Shadow Blade trying to make something happen. He does have God Strength. He's going to try to 2-hit somebody, but they have some kind of detection because they knew he was there. Anyways, using the Stormhammer, and she actually doesn't even get hit by the stun at all. Super Dry trying to run on out of there, but he's actually going to get picked off with a Blink and a Force Staff. Jing going to be able to bring down the Invoker with some Sheepstick action. They're going to call good game. That was a beautiful friggin' engage. The fact that she didn't even get hit by the Stormhammer, they immediately turned around and destroyed the Sven in disables with the Sheepsticks. That is just well played on their part. Really nice action from Genesis, and a really strong showing from a surprisingly awesome team. So I have International in their name. Perhaps they are just multicultural, but one way or another, I definitely expect to see a lot more of this team, whether in more SECS amateur American play or whatever. But awesome stuff and really good action. So good game, well played, called, and they're just going to take down the Ancient right real quick, and we'll go on into the final matchup. I'm not sure. I think, let me actually check the bracket real quick. It looks like Can You Ring has already finished off their game, and they are going to be going up against Genesis in this final matchup. So we'll be tuning into that in just a moment's time, and after that is over, then we'll be going into a video guide that I have have ready for you guys. I mean, I'll buy it, so if you guys can't stay up that long, that's fine too, but in general, it's just going to be something that I've been wanting to do for a while, giving you guys a little bit more information, as I provide a lot of analysis and play-by-play, but the Dota is a game in the details, so there's a lot more information I just can't cover in a cast, and that's why I'm going to try to provide this weekly series for you guys. Starting off with this one about lane supports, joined by Rolo, the support player for Fnatic North America. So awesome stuff there. Hopefully you guys can join me for that, but we'll get into the game in just a moment's time.